Welcome to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, well-known radio sports personality Bruce McGowan, and Vern Glenn of CBS affiliate KPIX-TV in San Francisco. Today's show is going to be fun because we're going to have Bill Syken, who was the editor of the book Any Given Number, on the air. He's going to phone in, and we're going to talk about this book called Any Given Number, where he took various players with their number and trying to figure out, who was the best player. So, like number 5, is it Joe DiMaggio or another player with number 5? 23, of course, has to be Michael Jordan. But some of the ones like number 4, Lou Gehrig or Brett Favre, who wore it well. Okay, we're also going to talk about the NFL having more games on Thursdays. 49ers tight end Vernon Davis is selling stock in himself. Kind of interesting topic there. The 49ers versus Joe Montana. A little controversy between the two of them for some real estate. And Giancarlo Stanton of the Miami Marlins. That rascal's hitting 469-foot homers. Holy smokes. And, of course, we have to talk about California Chrome losing the Belmont Stakes. That actually seems to be more of the story than who actually won it. We'll also talk a little bit about O'Bannon versus the NCAA trial. We'll also, let's see here. Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, providing mortgage investments that are currently yielding over 8% secured by real estate. It doesn't get any more conservative than that. Check them out at pacificprivatemoney.com. And you're listening to Sports Econ 101. If you have a question, you can email us, Edward at sportsecon101. Again, going back to that California Chrome, it'd be interesting to talk about, these horses. How much time do they need between races? I mean, I don't know. I thought maybe 2 weeks was enough that they could recover, but I could be wrong. We'll talk a little bit about that. Don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back. Sports Econ 101. Then chime in, okay? All right, so here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn.
Hey!
And Bruce McGowan.
Yes, indeed.
All right, we have on the phone here Bill Syken, who is the editor of a book called Any Given Number. Now, what is that about? Bill, I'm going to let you explain it to the audience.
Well, we went through numbers from 0 to 99. For every uniform number, you take the best athlete ever to wear that number. We also, did some research to try to find an interesting story about, someone who wore the number for a special reason or someone who did something to get the number. But that's basically it. We just really dive into the topic of numbers every which way we can.
And did people make suggestions, or is it just a few guys just figuring it out?
It was, I worked on this with another editor named Stephen Canella. We sort of, we debated the choice for the best at each number. A lot of times we agreed, the times we didn't, we kind of hashed it out. We went back and did some more research, and we came up with the best choices we could.
I always think of 24 is the preeminent number, mainly because I grew up watching Willie Mays, who wore number 24, and Rick Barry, who played out here, was a superstar, and Ricky Henderson, and then, of course, Kobe Bryant. So does 24, is that one of the more popular numbers? I would think it would be with, maybe 32 with Jim Brown, and I hate to say it, O.J. Simpson wearing number.
Unless we're dating ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, I would say, if I had to pick one number that was the preeminent number, it would be 32 because, not only do you have Jim Brown, you have Magic Johnson, and Koufax.
Oh, Koufax, that's right. Yeah.
Those are just three, iconic figures. But 24 is right up there. And 24, talking about Willie Mays, he was our choice as the best player at that number. But you also had a lot of players, in the next generation of baseball players who wore 24 out of admiration for Willie Mays, including, young Barry Bonds, Ken Griffey. You had a lot of guys who wore 24 because they admired Mays so much.
It's funny, I did a Club Med one time, and they said the most...
in your single days?
I said, no, actually, I was with the family. And they said the most popular uniform number for, tourists and stuff was number 45.
45?
Yeah,
really?
I don't know. Something to do with I don't know.
Number 45. 45. I'm going to look through the book here. Let's see.
I bet you don't see Jim Johnson of the A's in there.
Well, let's see. We've got Rudy Tomjanovich, Bob Gibson, Pedro Martinez, Tug McGraw, A.C. Green, Kenny Easley.
And you got Michael Jordan when he temporarily used
That's
that
true.
number.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, my favorite was 1/8 for Eddie Goodell.
Oh, Eddie Goodell.
Oh, yeah.
1/8 was Eddie Goodell,
Yeah. So LeBron James has Michael Jordan's old number, though. That's something I just realized that, LeBron, is that a tribute to Michael?
Yeah, that's what
Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're
But
having
he was, but then when he decided to stop wearing it and switch to number 6, which is what he wears with the Heat, he also suggested that people in general just stop wearing 23 out of respect for Michael Jordan. Of course, when he goes over to 6, you have, that had been worn by Bill Russell, who is, another place for the greatest player of all time, probably after Jordan. And then you also have Dr. J at number 6, and that's another number with some great history to it that he jumped to.
Hey, in the household, who's cranking out more material, you or your other half, Jennifer? Well, she's getting some serious ink.
You did some research. I think. No Google button there.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm a journalist.
Definitely, Jen. Yeah, she has a new book coming out next week called All Falls Out, which I read it, and it's absolutely fantastic. So, she does some absolutely great work.
Hey, there you go. See, we promoted you. Now, no doghouse for you now. Not with this show.
Yeah, no, it's
Absolutely.
interesting. If you look at number 21, John Hadle was in there as he was the last quarterback to wear number 21 because they decided to make everything under 20 for the quarterbacks.
I always think of Tim Duncan, Deion Sanders, and Roberto Clemente. Those are the and of course the disgraced Roger Clemens.
Hey, Bill, when you were growing up playing sports, what was your number?
Well, I'm calling you from Philadelphia. I grew up in the Philadelphia area. I would always go with number 2 because I was such a big fan of Moses Malone.
Oh, yeah.
Number 2 and he was with the Sixers. The other thing is just like a very quick way of finding out who your friends' favorite athletes were when they were kids is just give them some sort of intramural team and ask them to pick numbers and they'll all just make a beeline for whatever their that number was.
Hey, let's go around the table. Hey, Bruce, what was your number growing up?
My number was always number 12, even though my favorite number was number 24, and I can't really tell you why number 12. I always got it in Little League, and I'm looking at number 12 right now, and some pretty good players. This is after my time, Tom Brady, of course, Wade Boggs,
Joe Namath,
Ken
Stabler,
Ken Stabler, John Stockton, Bob Greasy. Joe, you mentioned Joe Namath.
Edward, how about you? What was your number growing up?
When I was a kid, I always liked 24, of course, because of Willie Mays. But I'm kind of dating myself because when I played Little League, a lot of times people would choose 3 for Babe Ruth.
Oh, yeah.
And then I chose nothing to be like Christy Mathewson. Go back even further in time.
Okay.
That's true. And then in those days, they didn't wear a number. When did they first start wearing numbers anyway?
Well, that's a good question.
It started in the 1920s in earnest. I mean, and it's just an interesting piece of trivia that, when teams started doing it like the Yankees, numbers just corresponded to the batting order.
Yeah.
Babe Ruth hitting 3rd, wearing number 3. You have Lou Gehrig batting 4th, wearing number 4. And that was how it went down the lineup. That was the origins of numbers.
But the silly thing is that what happens when you change the lineup? Then the numbers don't.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I think as time went on, you had to, people ended up using different systems because that only lasted for so long.
I love the fact that you have the favorite number, the favorite athlete for that particular number. And for number 60, it's Otto Graham. Who was
the quarterback.
Great quarterback in the 40s and 50s. And there's a picture here in the book of him running, and he's wearing the high top
Chuck
sneakers.
Taylor black high tops. I love that.
What is going on with that?
I don't know if I love that picture. If you look in the background behind Otto Graham, there's one of his players who's just basically punching another guy.
Yeah.
It's a throwback to a different era. Quarterbacks were wearing 60, wearing high tops, and guys are just going at each other.
Nasty. I love it. That's real football. Get down there and get dirty.
No face mask.
No face mask. Yeah, guys getting their teeth knocked out. I love it.
And then you had your zeros and double zeros.
Oh, Jim Otto. Otto, who is still around, the former Oakland Raider.
The Chief.
Yeah, the Chief. There you go, Roger. Yeah, that's right.
Gilbert Arenas or 0, right?
Yeah, I think he was. Wasn't Gilbert Arenas number 00?
He was.
0.
Okay.
And it's actually interesting that, I mean, when Gilbert Arenas wore number 0, it was fairly rare in basketball, but now, like almost I think a third of the teams in the NBA have a 0 on them, including you have Damian Lillard, you have Russell Westbrook, you have Jeff Teague. I think a lot of guys were inspired by Gilbert Arenas to take up the 0 after they saw him.
Whatever happened to Gilbert Arenas anyway? I mean, he just sort of disappeared. What was it?
Recently retired.
Yeah.
He was an odd duck when he was in the Warriors.
Yeah.
Boy, he was bad.
He was good.
He made a ton of money. He had some knee injuries and had a couple comebacks. I think he tried to come back with the Magic and maybe one other team, and he just wasn't the same player.
I remember Vince Carter. Vince was awesome.
Hey Bill, can I plug another one of your books? You wouldn't mind that, would you? Bill, he wrote a book about the Green Bay Packers.
Oh.
And I don't know about you, Bill, but the first time I ever went to Lambeau Field, it was the first time I'd been in an environment where I actually got chills. Like I just felt like the ghosts of football were like all around me. I don't know if it was that or just the cold weather.
The frozen tundra. Hey, Bill.
It's definitely, among NFL teams, it's absolutely a unique environment up there.
Hey, Bill, I tell you what, stay.
It honestly reminds me of a college town because, I mean, that's the same sort of thing. But it really struck me, I was there on a Saturday night before the game, and there were all these wedding parties coming to the stadium, taking their, like, wedding photos. You have, like, rows of groomsmen getting down in three-point stances and rows of bridesmaids with blowing bouquets behind them.
Hey, Bill, I got to interrupt you for a second because the station needs me to do a quick break here.
That's okay, Bill. He's just the producer's just looking at the clock.
I got to look at the clock, so stay with us for a minute here. Okay, the theme is boxing, all right? Also known as the greatest. What was Ali's original nickname?
Oh, please.
Oh, come on, not everybody knows. All right,
Oh, gosh.
emails with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Email edward@sportsecon101.com the answer to this question. Also known as the greatest, what was Muhammad Ali's original nickname? All right, don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101 will be right back. Okay.
All right, Vernon, you get to answer that one.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Cassius Clay was a slave name. It's an interesting story. Cassius Clay was actually an abolitionist, believe it or not, but he was at one time I believe he was a senator from Kentucky. So Kentucky was a border state, and they were actually more sympathetic with the North, but Cassius Clay did not like he felt he was being named after somebody who was a slave.
Although some slaves that escaped and just went over the border into Kentucky, for whatever reason, because it was a border state, the slave owners could actually go across the get them and then bring them back.
Yeah, well,
and then hang them.
They could do that also going into New England with the fugitive slave law, which was became very
okay. I got a trivia question for you. Okay, everyone remembers Frederick Douglass.
Yes.
What was his
uniform number?
What was his?
What was his?
We'll let Bill answer that.
What was his? And I say given name, and the reason he changed it to Douglas is because he didn't like his name. It was a slave name. What was his surname?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Bailey.
I do not know.
Bailey?
Frederick Bailey.
Interesting. Now, he did escape, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had quite a mean employer.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
But that movie, 12 Years a Slave, that's
I haven't seen that.
That is
I
a
gotta
powerful
film.
film.
Is it a good one?
Powerful. What's the name of the actor? He's got an interesting name. It's a.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember how you pronounce the guy's name. It's something with the first name starts with a C and his last name starts with an O.
I'll tell you this. You watch this in your little theater room after the movie.
Yeah.
You're gonna want to watch something uplifting quick.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's not
yes.
a happy film.
No, not at all.
Very,
No.
very, very realistic.
Bring up the tissues. That's
Yeah.
right. Okay, you guys ready?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn.
Number 4, batting.
Yeah, and Bruce McGowan.
Batting number 12,
The cleanup
Edward
hitter.
Brown.
That's right. Actually, number 17.
Number 17.
Okay.
Number 17.
Because I was 17th in the lineup.
Okay.
Okay. Here is the trivia question regarding boxing here. Also known as the greatest, what was Ali's original nickname?
Nickname or actual name?
See, what were you guys? What were you guys thinking? What were you going to say?
I thought well, we knew.
When he said nickname, it threw you
that's
off.
right. Okay, because we all know it was Cassius Clay was actually his name.
Yeah,
that's not. That wasn't his nickname though.
No.
What was his nickname before it was the greatest? See, you thought, this is too easy.
I don't know.
Bill, you know
So
that
I didn't hear Nick. I just heard name. I was like, I was about to.
Now I said it. Okay, Bill, you know the answer to that one?
No, I do not. I do not know the answer.
The Louisville Lip.
Oh yes.
Louisville. Well, that's certainly believable.
Yeah.
Because he would not stop talking.
No, that's one of the tragedies. Muhammad Ali cannot speak
Yeah,
anymore. And I don't know, Vernon, have you ever met Muhammad Ali? It's quite an experience.
Only once, but I mean,
Yeah.
but it was in the declining years. I mean,
Yeah.
you couldn't get anything out of him.
No.
I would have loved to have met him. When he was,
Oh gosh.
sharp. You know.
Now, I met him at the Super Bowl and just shook his hand. This was 20 years ago, and he couldn't really speak then. But it was interesting. All the writers that were hanging around in the media room were like a bunch of little kids surrounded
Oh,
by,
sure.
as if they were in the presence of a king. It was just amazing.
Bill, you ever met Ali?
I have not had the pleasure, no.
I can tell you this story. The great Leonard Coppett, God rest his soul, when they started polling all the writers, this was for the first Sonny Liston fight. Everybody was taking Sonny Liston, and he took Ali. And then, I'm sorry, it was the second one.
The one in Lewiston where he the
one,
Phantom Punch.
Yeah. He took Ali, and then and then he looked like a genius because everybody else, But yeah, the Phantom Punch.
The Phantom Punch.
Bill, you want to share any other stories about the book with us? Any given number?
Well, we can talk about some of the closest debates we have if you want some of the toughest calls. I mean, one I'd like to throw out to you guys was number 4.
Okay, Lou Gehrig.
The debate came down to 3 kind of big players: Brett Favre, Lou Gehrig, Bobby Orr. I mean, among those 3, if you're going to pick a top player, who would you pick?
So Brett Favre, Lou Gehrig, or Bobby Orr. Oh, that's a tough one.
I'm gonna go Bobby Orr.
Yeah, I will too. I will, just because even though Bobby Orr didn't have as long a career as Lou Gehrig, I think he was such an impactful player.
That's the thing. He was the man.
Yeah, he was. I mean, Bobby Hull was still around at that time, but Bobby Orr was, and Gordie Howe was still around at that time when Bobby Orr was in his prime. But Bobby Orr. That's who you picked, isn't it?
That is in fact who we picked.
Okay, all right.
You got that
Man,
one,
I
right?
feel like
Glad we're all in agreement.
I'm curious. I wonder if there's any story out there of a famous player that maybe wanted another number but couldn't get it, ended up getting a number, and then immortalized like forever by that number.
Oh.
Well, I mean, Bobby was actually. Well, no, I didn't like. He was actually offered number 5, but he refused to take it because the Bruins had had another good player before that, and he ended up with number 4. But,
once you get into the later numbers, you get rid of most of the baseball players.
Yeah.
There are too many
Well,
77.
look at the New York Yankees. I mean, once Jeet's number gets hung up there in the
Yeah,
rafters,
gone.
that's it. All the
What
single
is-
digits are gone.
What is Jeter's number?
2.
2, okay.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I remember all the numbers of the great players from the 60s and 70s. The guys today, forget it. I don't remember them. Do you find that to be the same case? I'm going to ask our author that. Are you in the same frame of mind as I am about that? You remember the athletes from the old days, but not the guys currently in terms of the numbers?
I'm pretty good on the numbers of today. Part of it is, just with the sales of merchandise, like, in the 90s and early 2000s, the Allen Iverson number 3 was sort of ubiquitous, at least around New York and Philadelphia.
Ichiro 51.
If it's a player whose jersey gets worn a lot, then to me it gets really strongly reinforced.
Speaking of Allen Iverson, what's going on with him? Because did he try to come back in the minor leagues or something for a while? I mean, he was out of basketball.
Well, they retired his number this year in Philadelphia in March, and he came back for it, and he participated in the number retirement ceremony, and he looks pretty much like he's done. I mean, he gave a nice speech, even joked about the practice thing. So maybe when he's doing that means he's
That was such a great moment.
That's one of the top quotes I think out
Yeah,
there.
it's like Jim Morris. Playoffs? Are you kidding me? Playoffs?
If we win another game, we'll be.
Yeah.
We're talking about practice. Now, come on, man, practice.
It's funny, he's like one of the great shooting guards of all time, you know, and an MVP, taking extremely, otherwise mediocre team to the finals, but that quote really just.
Yeah. And he's such a raggedy-looking little guy. I mean, you don't think of him as you look at his body, he looks just like a guy off the street. What a great athlete.
Dude
What heart.
Dude could ball, man.
Oh, my goodness.
Dude could ball.
Yeah.
Well, Bill Syken, the editor of the book Any Given Number. Where can people find that book?
They can find it, I believe it's available on the internet, as well as, you know, your major book outlets, your Barnes & Noble, and I believe it's in Targets and places like that as well.
Okay, and it's really cool because there's
Yeah.
a lot of great photographs in there too.
Yeah.
So, Bill
Fantastic.
Syken, thank you very much for joining us on Sports Econ 101.
Thanks for having me on. I enjoyed it.
All right.
Take care, Bill.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Good
That was
stuff.
kind of fun.
Yeah. And
Okay.
that's an interesting book. I mean, I never thought of a book
Great
about
coffee
numbers.
table book,
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't think a book about numbers would be very interesting, but it is. It's fascinating.
Yeah, especially when you get reminded of, oh yeah, number 33, you know, with Jabbar.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, we just had the California Chrome losing the Belmont
man.
Stakes. That's actually the story, not who
Yeah,
won it, but
yeah.
the fact that he lost it.
Yeah.
Now, I got a question about the owner making comment of the
Mhm.
California Chrome making comment, and I'm thinking, okay, the whole thing about, gee, the horses that haven't run in the Derby or the Preakness shouldn't be
Mhm.
allowed in the Belmont Stakes. So I'm thinking, does that have to do with the fact that they are going to be worn out?
That's
I mean-
part of it. Yeah.
I mean,
you're
really, they
you
have
have
to-
fresher horses.
But they
Yeah.
have 2 weeks to. Is there 2 weeks in between?
Yeah, but it's more than that. I mean, the horse. I mean, you can't think of it like a human. I mean, the horse needs time to really. That's a long way to go, a mile and a half.
Yeah, and the way they go, I mean, they go all out. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just like a sprint for somebody running a 100-yard dash. I mean, you see what these horses do.
And it's not like they're getting oats in a rub down up
Yeah.
until the race. I mean, they're getting worked out every morning.
Yeah.
But that's what I was wondering. It's like, I mean, because I don't know enough about horses. I mean, is 2 weeks not enough time for
Well,
a horse to, get back into,
Maybe it isn't. Here's the thing: is we found out later. Actually, California Chrome kicked himself and hurt himself, and that's why he had no kick left because he was hurting physically.
And nobody knew that at the time. Everybody just reacted when Espinosa went to the whip. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't had to do that before.
No. And also he was on the inside for the first half of the race, and then he went to the outside.
Went to the outside, you figure, oh, here he's going to make his move,
Yeah.
and it just never happened.
Yeah. I felt badly for the owner. I think the owner apologized.
Yeah.
But I mean, I did feel badly for him because it was such a big buildup.
When he first made the comment, I said to myself, that's a pretty good point
Yeah.
that he makes. Either running them all or none at all. But then you think, as I was reminded by Sam Spear, the great track expert from Golden Gate Fields out here in the Bay Area, there's a lot of other races where horses were held out, whether they held out of the Preakness or maybe they didn't run the Belmont, but they ran the Kentucky Derby. I mean, there's been a lot of instances where that has happened. That has not just been the rule.
No.
So, but again, in this day and age, maybe that's something to be considered. It certainly would make it exciting.
Yeah.
If you only let the 20 horse field that was in Kentucky move on to the Preakness and then the Belmont
here's
Stakes.
another thing to consider. I mean, this owner, what are the chances of California Chrome at the beginning of this whole thing going to the all the way to the championship and winning 3, and then he realized his great payday had just fallen apart, and not that he wasn't going to have a great horse on his hands and a great story, but just think of the first Triple Crown winner in 36 years, and all of the attendant publicity and the money. And
Well, I think they're going to cash in. They're
They
just
are.
going to
They
cash
will.
in as much. I mean,
but it won't be anything like it would have been.
it was an $8,000 to $10,000 investment
Yeah.
on a horse where
Not bad.
if you looked at the racing form at those other contenders that were in the field and see what they were claimed for, I mean, you're looking at $350,000, $600,000. I mean, there were a lot. I mean, there was some big money put in there, and then here comes California,
It's a rich man's
10
game.
grand.
It's a shame, though. They don't call it the sport of kings for nothing, but it is a shame because we thought after 36 years this was the horse that was going to do it. And when's there going to be another chance for a horse to do it?
It may, you know what? It may not.
It may never happen.
He may be right. It may not happen
Yeah.
in our lifetime.
Well,
It may not.
can you imagine being the jockey and you you run without having to use the whip, and then somebody it's like, I'm sorry, whack. I'm sorry, oh whack. I'm sorry. Okay, guys, we're going to cut to our second commercial break. Again, the theme is boxing. Now, the reason we had boxing, we were going to have another guest on today, but he couldn't make it. We were going to talk about the morality of boxing.
Was it a boxer?
No, it was an attorney.
Oh.
A criminal attorney. So that we'll have him on again.
Okay.
And we'll we'll have boxing again. But okay, here is our second trivia question related to boxing, and it has to do with Ali again. How many fights did Ali lose? And we're not talking about stuff before he was professional, obviously.
Right.
Just
Professional fights?
Yeah, just the ones that we know about. Okay, the first 3 emails with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Email Edward at sportsecon101.com the answer to this question. How many fights did Muhammad Ali lose? All right? Don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101 will be right back. We're going to get into a lot of other interesting topics.
I'm going to say 3.
Frazier,
and
Foreman.
Spinks and Foreman.
Spinks.
Oh, maybe 4 because Ken Norton broke his jaw, but I think
Frazier, Foreman, Spinks. God, but didn't who's the people's champion?
Well, he beat Foreman. Did he fight Foreman twice? I didn't realize he lost to Foreman once. Did he lose to Foreman?
No. Frazier. Wait a minute. No.
Because they fought 3 times. He won 2 out of 3. He won the Thriller in Manila. He lost that first fight at Madison Square
He
Garden.
beat Foreman, I think.
Yeah, but he did lose to Spinks.
Frazier, Spinks, but then he lost.
Was it Ken Norton?
No. Who's the champion from Easton, Pennsylvania? He called himself the people's champion. Oh, come on.
God,
Come on.
Well, we'll find
Tommy
out.
Gunn.
Huh?
No, don't you look it up. Don't you look it up.
No, the guy.
Don't you look it up. Don't look it up.
Bernie
Come on. No, come on.
Here we
Come on, He
go.
was from Pennsylvania.
Sorry,
White
too
guy,
late.
black guy?
Black guy.
Too late.
Okay.
We're
All right,
going
we'll
to
figure it out.
record.
We'll have fun with this one.
Okay. Welcome. Sorry, guys. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm sorry, audience. We're having too much fun at the break here. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Ferg Glenn.
He's on the ropes.
and Bruce McGowan.
Hits him with a right hand and a left to the jaw, a right hand to the body, and Sullivan is down. The count is 5,
Sullivan?
6.
John Sullivan?
Yeah, I'm going way
Oh,
back
oh,
there.
yeah, Corbett? Okay. All right. How many fights did Muhammad Ali lose?
Professional fights.
Professional fights. Okay, so, first of all, start naming people.
Well, Vernon, I believe 3, right?
No. It's
4?
more than that.
Okay, so
I'm going to say 4 or 5.
Name one.
Frazier. He fought Frazier 3 times, lost once.
Wait, you're asking us to name the people or name the number of fights?
Well,
the question was the number of fights.
I know,
Okay.
but let's see who you can name.
So
okay.
we have
Frazier.
He lost to Spinks.
He lost to Leon Spinks.
He lost to Frazier.
He lost to the people's champion. God,
From
he lost
Easton,
to
Pennsylvania.
he's from Easton, Pennsylvania. He lost to the.
Who else did he lose to?
I was going to say Ken Norton.
Ken Norton.
Okay,
he lost to Frazier. He lost to Norton.
Uh-huh.
He did lose to Leon Spinks.
That's right.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And who are the other 2?
2. Oh, there's 5 of them.
Yeah.
The people's champion and
Foreman?
no.
He beat Foreman.
No.
Okay, I'll give you. This will be easy. I'll give you the initials. LH.
Oh, Larry Holmes.
Larry
Of
Holmes.
course.
Larry Holmes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the guy.
Okay. Now who's the other one? One more.
And
Okay.
what the
This
guy-
one's a little harder. Okay.
What?
TB.
Drawing a blank.
Trevor Burbick.
Trevor Burbick?
Trevor
Oh, my
Burbick.
God.
That must have been the very end.
Yeah, never would have guessed that one. I remember when Holmes beat him, Holmes felt really badly because Holmes.
Remember, he kept telling to the ref, "Stop the fight,
Yeah.
stop the fight," and he wouldn't
Yeah.
stop it, and he
The
would
toughest,
pound him again.
the toughest fight, though, was the Thriller in Manila,
Yeah.
where he and Frazier beat each other up so badly that they both were in the hospital. I mean, Muhammad Ali nearly died, he said, and Frazier could not eat solid food for 10 days. That's how bad.
Wasn't it like 100 degrees there too? It was like
Yeah.
the heat was.
Oh,
Terribly
they
hot.
just savaged each other.
Yeah, I was going to guess Clubber Lang, but
Yeah.
that's going on to movies there. Okay, so now
Mr. T, right?
Mr. T, that's right. Which, if I remember correctly, I think he was a sparring partner for Ali.
Yeah,
I
he
think
might
he
have
was.
been.
No, he was
No.
he was a nightclub bouncer.
Is that right?
That's how he made his.
Well, he made
claim
the
to fame.
most out of.
and then Stallone discovered him and put
Yeah.
him in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
But
he went on
if you
to
saw him
the
in
80s.
person, he's not as tall as you
No,
think.
no, he's kind of
It's a little guy.
Stallone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stallone's
True.
about 5'10".
True.
No, he's about
Notice in
5'8".
the Stallone movies, the camera angle is pointed up
Oh, yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Sort of like
Serious.
Tom Cruise, because he's a small guy.
Yeah.
The first Rocky movie, though, was the best. It really was.
I personally like number 3.
Really?
Because I like Thunder Lips.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
I just thought the first one was. It's hard to make.
It's hard.
It's hard to make a better one. Than
First one was good.
And it was made on a budget of like $100,000.
One Best Picture.
Yeah.
They have now that there's 6 of them, right?
6 of them. Yeah.
Like I said, in Rocky 38, Rocky wears the pens. Right? Okay, so the O'Bannon versus the NCAA trial is set to begin. And I thought it was kind of interesting here. I was just reading a little article. It says that they recently allowed Ohio State athletic director to receive an $18,000 bonus after an Ohio State wrestler won the national title, but the wrestler himself got nothing.
Why did he get the bonus?
I don't know. I guess it's all about money, right?
I'm sympathetic with these athletes. I mean, they're the ones that people are coming to see, and it's the people in the front office, the coaches, the conferences that are making tons of money, and 90% of these guys, 95%, aren't going to see a single penny because they're not going to make it to the pros. Ed O'Bannon played, Vernon, a couple of years in the NBA, and he didn't play very well. He was like kind of a journeyman. So I don't blame the guy.
Much more famous for college.
Yeah. Oh, he was a great college basketball player at UCLA. Yeah. But I mean, I think he deserves a little attention out of this thing.
Well, they all do.
Well, I mean, even the Olympics, right? It wasn't until the Dream Team.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was all college
That's
players,
true.
right? But every other country paid their players.
Yeah.
That's what they did so well.
Yeah.
So a little NFL here. Looks like they're going to be doing more Thursday games. Hear about
I'm
that?
not a big fan of that. For the simple reason that the players they need to get that week to recover. Your body goes through just incredible trauma. It's all about television, Vernon.
Well, I almost have to recuse myself because CBS is the beneficiary.
Oh, you're an affiliate. You're working for a CBS.
I get 8 Thursday nights.
Yeah.
There you go. That works.
And I think a couple of them are Niner games.
Yeah. You get to. That'll be fun for you.
Oh, Ed Reed, remember Ed Reed?
Sure.
Okay, last year he goes, just to imagine this. He says, go get in a car accident and then try to play 2 days later because that's how it feels.
Yeah, that's true.
Actually, excuse me, that's what Michael Robinson said, but well, actually, it's a combination.
Well, Vernon here can tell you.
Yeah, but every one of those guys, you go up to them, every single one of them. I mean, well, there's no way they would say, "No, I'm not going to play."
No, of course not.
They all want to play. They all know what they signed up for.
I was going to say, Vernon had his own personal experience when he was working with KPIX or with KRON here in San Francisco. He did these series of particular features called Mr. Involvement, and you went up.
Kind of a poor man's George Plimpton.
You went up against Jeff Olbrich, who was a pretty good linebacker.
With bull rush linebacker at the time with the 49ers.
And he hit you pretty hard.
He hit me really hard. I mean, that's to this day, that is the hardest I have ever been hit in my life.
He sent you flying.
He sure did. Flying, just classic, hit me, flying back, and then and my helmet, hit the grass for the rest of my body.
Right? You had the full uniform.
Full on pay. Yeah, it was a blitz pickup drill
Uh-huh.
where you're supposed to stop the blitzing linebacker, but you're supposed to hit him low, Bruce.
Oh, boy.
So if you're up at all, I mean, forget it.
So now, I remember you walking around with a little neck problem there. Was that exacerbated?
Still got it.
Because of Olbrich's hit?
I think it's a series of trauma-related incidents like that. I'm sure that might have been one of them that leads to a little. Well, as Harbaugh says, working through some things that I'm working through now. So
I know how these football players feel because sometimes I used to play softball on Thursday, then I have to play on Sunday again.
Oh,
well.
Life is rough.
Just teasing there a little bit. Okay, moving on here to get this. 49ers tight end Vernon Davis is selling stock in himself.
I heard about it. He says, I'm going to sell my brand.
Let's sell the brand.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and it's not unheard of. There's a race car driver that had a press conference that was pretty much offering if you want to buy shares of stock in me and invest, then I'll go ahead and take it. And Vernon Davis has been trying to do that.
Well, this is how it works. It says they said, for example, the tight end for the 49ers currently offers roughly 421,000 shares, which have so far traded between $10 to $12. Davis agreed to give up 10% of his brand-related cash flow to Fantex for investors. In return, he received a $3 million payout.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's very interesting. surprised that the NFL is allowing.
I know, it's all about money, and again, we talk about it so often, and I'm being one of the older guys now covering sports, I get a little down about the whole thing because the money it's almost obscene, it's almost cartoon-like, but on the other hand, these athletes have a limited number of years, especially the football players, and how can we begrudge them for wanting to take care of their families, and take care of themselves, and let's face it, Vernon Davis is a great player, but he's not a Hall of Famer, perhaps, so...
No, but think about it though. Imagine this, and it's just come off the top of my head. What would happen if suddenly he shorts the stock, and then somehow he just happens to get hurt?
Oh, interesting.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, I can see it's like a Pete Rose type of potential issue. I think that you got to be careful about that. Okay, one more football thing here. 49ers versus Joe Montana. You hear about this?
Oh yeah, Legends of Candlestick.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
going to be the last
Coming
game
up.
ever played at Candlestick Park.
Yeah, we're talking about here that Montana, perhaps the most beloved 49ers legend.
Jerry Rice will be in that game. Roger Craig.
Well,
I was just with them at a function at Candlestick promoting the event.
No, this is different. This is his development company has plans to build a $400 million hotel.
Oh well, that's a whole nother matter.
A whole different thing. That's why I said
I thought you were talking about the
49ers versus Joe Montana from the standpoint of.
I asked Joe about that, and he said, well, they've been talking. He thinks it'll work out. It's all over the Santa Clara parking garage, which is directly across the street from Levi's Stadium. Now, the 49ers, they want that garage. I mean, they need that parking.
For the fans.
But right in that very spot above it, Montana and his group are building a hotel.
Wow.
So that's what they have to work out, because on Sundays, I mean, it's a moneymaker for one or both of them.
Yeah.
So I asked him, I said, it's about money, and he goes, well, not in so many words. Yeah.
It's amazing to me how many of these 49er players from the 80s are all doing so well financially. I mean, Randy Cross, Jerry Rice, Roger Craig, even Brent Jones, who had his ups and downs, they've all been very smart about the way they've invested their money. Steve Young. I mean, these guys.
They can all credit Eddie Bartolo Jr. because he made them all millionaires.
Yeah.
And he advised them, he shepherded them to get him into business. He's done so much, and I think it's a crime he's not in the Hall of Fame yet.
Well, he ticked off a lot of people, unfortunately. But you're right. Eddie DeBartolo took care of his players, much the same way Al Davis did with the Raiders. And I think for that he deserves a lot of credit. And fans in the Bay Area should be very happy, because without him, there never would have been a dynasty with the 49ers winning 5 Super Bowls in 14 years. Yep. No question.
Very good. Now, who is this guy, Giancarlo Stanton of Miami Marlins?
Oh, yeah.
This guy is hitting 469-foot homers.
He's an amazing power hitter. And, it's funny because he plays in Miami, which is not a small market, but unfortunately not that many people pay attention to what the Marlins are doing, even though they've won a couple of championships. They're sort of an anonymous team, somewhat like the Tampa Bay Rays. It's too bad. I mean, he's a great player to watch. Scary. If you put him in Yankee Stadium or put him out here in the West Coast to the Dodgers or the Giants, there'd be a lot more talk about this guy.
Yeah, it's just noticing. I mean, these homers are blasts.
Yeah, he's got that. What do you call it? The kind of power that. Who is the guy that played here for a couple of years and played with Montreal? The big cat.
Not Tim Raines.
No.
Andres Galarraga.
Oh yeah. He hit a ball, I think 490 feet. The longest home run in the history was. No, it was over 500 feet. At AT&T Park.
No greenies involved?
He didn't hit the didn't McGuire almost hit the glove?
The glove? I don't think so. But McGuire hit some amazing shots.
A couple of guys have come close to the glove, but bouncing off, wow.
Yeah, that would be a
I think the biggest one I saw was when Canseco hit one in Toronto.
In the upper deck.
Yeah,
in the playoffs.
They literally painted that one, because I don't know how much, it had to be close to 500 feet.
Now, Canseco, interesting little sideline. Canseco is going to come here to Marin County, where we're doing the show, in Santa Fe, the county seat, and put on a home run hitting exhibition at the Albert Park, where the Santa Fe Pacifics, the independent team, sometime this summer.
Is that right?
Yeah, he'll come out here. Jose is a huckster, and he's always looking to make a buck, and Mike Shapiro, who is the general manager and part owner of the team, invited him out, so he's going to put on a home run hitting contest.
Get him on the show?
Nice.
I'd love to get Jose on the show. Let's try it. Why not?
You can get Mike Shapiro to talk to him?
Well, Mike is a good go-between. I know Jose personally, but I don't. Every time I've tried to get Jose on something or another, he's always asking for money. Said, how much is it going to be?
We'll take him to lunch. I got a good lunch.
Not good enough. Not good enough. You got to get him.
It'll cost a lot bit more than lunch.
Yeah, you got to get him a couple of $1,000 and he'll do it.
My wife can make an excellent dinner for him.
Okay. I don't know if that'll work,
Okay.
but it's a good try.
All right, here's our third and final trivia question. Again, the theme is boxing. Who was the first man to ever regain the heavyweight crown after losing it less than a year earlier? Right?
Ask it again.
Who was the first man to ever regain the heavyweight crown after losing it less than a year earlier? Okay? The first three emails with the correct answer win a free 3-day 2-night stay at Lighthouse Resort. Email Edward at sportsecon101.com the answer to this question. Who was the first man to ever regain the heavyweight crown after losing it less than a year earlier? Don't touch that dial because Sports Econ 101 will come back with some closing comments.
Joe Louis?
God, is it that far? It's not like John L. Sullivan?
Well, no. Who was that? The movie that Russell Crowe, Jim Braddock. Jim Braddock didn't he lose his championship and then win it back?
But not.
But I think it was before.
Yeah,
it was actually before Max Schmeling took it away from Lewis. So I'm gonna guess Braddock, because remember Max Baer. Yeah. He had to beat Max Baer. That's a great movie, by the way.
Yeah, that was good.
Cinderella Man.
Yeah.
Terrific
Love
film. Did you
that.
like that one?
I did.
Yeah. Yeah. Boxing films, horse racing films. Sometimes they're the best of the sports films.
Even Seabiscuit was a pretty good movie.
I did. I enjoyed that. Yeah.
Secretary was a good movie. Diane Lane. People say Eva looks like Diane Lane.
Diane Lane. Oh God, Diane Lane.
No.
Yeah.
Diane Lane. She was in the movie with Richard Gere, where
Yeah.
she's having the affair, and then Richard Gere goes and kills the
guy.
It doesn't mean to kill him, but does it? Right?
Yeah, it was an accident. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see the whole.
He hit him in the head with a snow globe that he had given his wife.
Oh,
there
she
you
had
go.
given it to him,
yeah.
and he just freaked out.
She was a hot number there for a while. She's got to be in her late 50s now. Mid-50s? Yeah, she's close to my age.
Okay, you guys ready?
We're ready.
Okay.
Ready to rock and roll.
Here we are. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn and Bruce McGowan.
Number 12.
Number 12. Again, still with number 12. All right. We're just going to call you number 12.
Number 12.
Okay, here's our last boxing question here. Who was the first man to ever regain the heavyweight crown after losing it less than a year earlier?
Well, I said, I thought Jim Braddock, because in that movie Cinderella Man, it was Russell Crowe winning it back from Max Baer.
No, a little after that.
But it may have been Joe Louis?
No, after that.
After that?
After that, not before. After.
Okay, after Joe Louis.
After Joe Louis.
Oh.
Wow.
Muhammad Ali? No.
No. Kind of close, though. I mean,
Sonny Liston?
you're getting in the
Floyd
close.
Patterson?
Yes.
There you go.
Floyd Patterson
Patterson.
lost to Ingmar Johansson in 1959
right.
and then beat him in 1960.
That's right.
Very good.
Yeah, and then of course Muhammad Ali just pummeled, Floyd Patterson and kept yelling at him, "What's my name? What's my name?" Because he changed his name. And Floyd Patterson kept referring to him as
Cassius Clay. Wouldn't call him that.
What's my name?
Butterflies. That's all he sees. Butterflies.
Yeah.
That's where you get the like a butterfly.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, here's our thoughts for the day. Honey is used as a center for golf balls. Have you ever looked inside a golf ball? You get that sticky stuff? That's honey.
I use honey just to say I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
And at 101, Larry Lewis ran the 100-yard dash in 17.8 seconds, setting a new world record for runners 100 years or older.
Wow.
What a wimp, man. It only took
101?
101
I'd
years
say
old.
he's a wimp. It only took me 16 seconds to run 100 yards.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's 101.
101, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of takes a little bit. So he's not a whip. That's pretty good.
It's
pretty good. It's great.
Good.
17 seconds. Okay.
I just want to be upright at 100.
Yeah. Breathing. Moving.
That's the thing. Yeah. What do they say? What do you want people's last words to say to you? At your funeral? Look, he's moving. Okay. Tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and giving away more free vacations for answering sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
So long.
All right. What happened to your phone there? Where did you drop? Dropped the
Yeah, I dropped it.
God, that happens so often.